Magic fans, I'm Beef, welcome back to another Historic Brawl gameplay video, and today we are playing Karametra, God of the Harvest. Karametra is one of the new on Arena in Pioneer Masters, but is one of the original Gods of Theros deck, which we've obviously never had on Arena. We have had some of the newer gods or newer versions of the gods, but we've never seen Karametra before. So who is she? 5 mana, 6/7 indestructible, and like all of Theros gods, as long as your devotion to green and white in this case is less than 7, Karametra isn't a creature. So for the monocolored gods, it's less than 5. For the multicolored gods, it's less than 7. Well, she does count herself, so she counts 2. She counts towards 2 devotion. But then her big thing is whenever you cast a creature spell, you may search library for a Forest of Plains cards, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. So ramp is the name of the game. She is obviously a great ramp spell. This is a cast trigger, not a creature ETB triggers, which does mean even if a creature gets countered, you still get it. It also means flickering your creature doesn't do anything. It also means if you cast a landfall trigger, because it's a cast trigger, the fetch trigger will go on top, so you'll get the land before the landfall creature goes into play. So just bear that in mind. And it is any forest or plains card. It is not just basic. So we don't actually only have 2 non-basic forest and lands, Temple Garden and Lush Portico. There are ones you can play. There are various, I think some of the gates are forest and plains. But I think this is all we need really. And yeah, so the aim is be able to cast Karametra as quickly as possible, and we have a lot of ramp to do that. Then just cast a lot of creatures so we get those lands so that we can cast our big boys. So first up we have ramp, and I'm not going to go through all of these. We've seen pretty much every single one of them before, apart from maybe Woe's Pathfinder. I just looked for all basically things that produce mana of any colour. And what's good about the Woe's Pathfinder is we can pay 7 and tap it, and paying 7 is not particularly hard for us. Another target creature gains +3/+3 and gains trampled in a turn. Karametra is a big body, 6/7, but it doesn't have any evasion, so it can be chumped all day long, but giving it +3/+3 up to a 9/10, and trample can really, really work. And Nissa and Lotus Cobra is absolutely great with Karametra, because whenever you cast a creature, you get a land, which means you trigger Nissa and Lotus Cobra to get additional mana, and in Nissa's case, once a turn, find another elf elemental, which we have quite a few. Next up, we just have cheap creatures. Ornithopter is a great one to have the turn we play Karametra. A lot of the time, you'll hear me and other people who play Brawl say you want to be able to trigger your commander the turn it comes down. Like with Tatiova, you wanted to play a land the turn you play Tatiova to get that value. It is less important with Karametra, because most of the time Karametra is not going to come down as a creature, because if you can play this on turn 3 pretty easily, turn 4 more likely. And it's not, you're not going to have a devotion to a creature, so it's going to be a lot harder to remove, not impossible. So you don't necessarily need to get value on that turn. But having say Ornithopter means you can just get that additional land and start ramping, meaning the next turn you can just go off. So yeah, to the rest of the cheap ones: Esper Sentinel, Nilfgaard Inspector, Thraben Inspector, Sigard and Evangel. I'll get back to that in a bit. Sky Knight Squire. We've played this card in a cat deck in Foundations. We're going to get a lot of creatures on the battlefield, so this can grow quite big. And then Spirited Companion to help draw a card. So something about Sigardian Evangel. It is an alchemy card. It is 2 mana for a 3/1. When it enters, we tap target permanent we don't control, which is great to get rid of blockers. But also, when it enters, we conjure a card named Sigardian Evangel into our hand. Then discard that card at the beginning of our next end step. Meaning, essentially, as long as you have mana, you can play out more Sigardian Evangels, get that tap trigger, and get 3/1s onto the board. There is a, not infinite, but get all your land, play all your hand combo. If you have either both Nissa and Lotus Cobra, or one of those 2 and Spelunkin, so lands enter play untapped, you can essentially play out as many Evangels as you have lands in your deck. You play an Evangel, you get a land with Karametra, so you get a land, it'll trigger Lotus Cobra or Nissa or both to get 1 or 2 lands. That land might come into play untapped with Spelunkin, meaning we have 2 mana, meaning we can cast the one that's just been conjured into a hand and repeat and repeat and repeat. And then if we have something, like if we have, say, both Lotus Cobra and Nissa and Spelunkin, we can generate mana, so we mana positive. Then if we have Overworld Oddity, or it's in our hand, and we can cast it and transform it, giving all our creatures +1/+1 trample and haste, we can just swing in with like 11 Sigardian Evangels, which is going to be 4/2s or something like that. So it is. I've not managed to make it happen. I have managed to play a lot of Evangels, but it is a combo that can happen. So next up, we have 1 removal spell, Swords of Plowshares. You could have more removal, but Swords is so powerful. But we've gone mostly creatures. Next up is card draw. Card draw is important. Ramp doesn't win you a game. You know, having 15 lands is great, but you need things to cast it. So you need ways to get through your deck. So up the beanstalk. With our commander costing more than 5, and we have a lot of 5 higher than 5 cost cards, it will trigger Guardian Project. Again, we're playing a lot of creatures, and same with Beast Whisperer. Also, that is a card trigger, so it doesn't matter if it is countered. You could also play Enduring Innocence, because we do have a lot of smaller creatures, but I decided against it in the end, because we do have a lot of bigger creatures as well. Next up, we just have the usual landfall. This is a great landfall deck. Spring Heart and Antuka, Mossborn Hydra, absolutely massive. Rampage and Baloths can create a lot of those 4/4 beasts. The 2 Tireless, and of course the OG, well, one of the best landfall triggers of Scoot Swarm. Next up, we have other creatures. Lauren to destroy artifacts or enchantments. Recruit of a guard and a range of ears to get small creatures. Fist Emperor to get a big creature or expensive creature. Rex Sage to destroy an artifact enchantment again. Tyvar is just great because it can just buff our entire board. We have a lot of mana as well, and it's quite hard to kill. Knight of Autumn is a bit of a modal card. We can buff it or destroy it, artifact enchantment, or gain 4 life. Nylea Keenite is another god, but it reduces the cost of all our creatures, and then we can pay 3 to reveal top card of the library if it's a creature we put into a hand, so a good thing to get through our deck. I've spoken about Orphan Oddity, and then Walt Leaf Liege gives all other green creatures we control +1/+1. Same for white creatures. Something like Karametra, which is green and white, it'll get +2/+2. And it does have, if a spell ability opponent controls causes us to discard this card, we put it onto the battlefield, which can be a bit. It can come up, but it's rare. Next up, we just have general good stuff. Once Upon a Time, Spelunking, spoken about. Mariah's Wake, just such a powerful card. Chamil is a good card in this deck. Discover and Cascade, they are cast. You just cast without paying its mana cost. So if you discover into a creature and cast it, you will get that trigger from Karametra. Immortal Sun, we don't have any Planeswalkers. Reducing the cost of all our spells, increasing our draws and buffing all our board is really good. Same with Great Henge. If you have Great Henge down while you've got Sigardian Evangel, you're just going to draw your entire deck. And then Portal Phyrex is pretty easy to cast. And next up, just our big finishing creatures. Ashaya will be huge because we'll have a lot of lands and a lot of creatures also lands. Tefilo Vigor is a great way to buff our board. Vorinclex can get extra lands as well as we turned into a pretty powerful saga. Kogla can fight things. Elish Norn buffs our entire board and nerfs our opponent's board. Rampage and Brontodon gets +1/+1 to end turn whenever we attack for each land we control. This can easily get +10 or +15, +15, and it has trample. Greater Hoop Behemoth is just the standard green win con, and then Ulamog will be pretty easy to cast as well. So that's the deck. Like you could play a bit differently. You could go more the standard removal. White's got some pretty good removal, but you want to get Karametra out early. The issue is, like with a lot of Theros gods, it doesn't impact the board the turn it comes down. Even if you can trigger it, we say Ornithopter, or if you have spare mana, getting an extra mana on the battlefield is probably not going to win in the game then. Some do, like Xenagos can win you the game the turn it comes down. So we really want to play this turn 4 at the latest. The perfect draw is turn 1 mana dock, turn 2 mana dock, Karametra, and then turn 3 we're going to have. Turn 4 we're going to have 6 mana, 5 or 6 mana, and then if we can play down one of our tireless, one of our landfall things, if we can play out a Hydra and then play out a couple of small creatures as well, that's just going to get absolutely massive. So it is quite powerful there. Does suffer to removal quite a lot, as a lot of green and white decks do, because we do have a lot of creatures. But, it can get to a stage where if they wipe our board, we've probably ramped quite a lot. So as long as we have a pretty decent sized hand, we can get back into it. So I really, really like this deck. I'm probably going to play a few more of the other Pioneer Masters gods to see how they work in Brawl and how they hold up. So I really enjoyed it. I hope you do too. If you do, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in gameplay. An enchantments based deck with Calyx. Our opponent goes first. That is not what we wanted to see, but Tyvar's a good blocker. We can get out turn 2. They might be able to get Calyx out turn 2 as well. That's if we need the blocker. And Mothborn Hydra is really good. and then we can Karametra. And then hopefully grow the Mossborn Hydra into a ridiculous amount. I might play out the Hydra. Because then I can play a land and play out the Bramble Familiar. Can't quite play out Karametra and Tyvar. I imagine they have Buried in the Garden, Ossification, maybe Leyline Biding, obviously won't get that cheap. You attack with the Enduring Innocence, it doesn't go away. I would like to draw a 1 or 2 mana creature. That way we can play Karametra and then play out that creature. We might chump the Fear of Surveillance. But next turn we can grow the Hydra quite big. We can play out both Tyvar and Oracle. Opponent is taking their time. We will chump with the Pathfinder. Well, I will do it Birds of Paradise, just because Pathfinder can give, unlike Karametra, trample. Right, what can we do? Definitely want to play out Tyvar. Definitely want to play out the... Well, let's play out the Oracle of Moldiah just in case we get another land on our... top. That's not a land. That Hydra's pretty big. And next turn it will be lethal. So they can block 6, 7, 8, 12, 13 of it. Oh, I think it's just we just have lethal. They can gain back 4. So essentially they can block 17 of it. Which might be Xax's. Plus the 6 from Karametra. I honestly don't know if they can. That's weird. Karametra doesn't have trample. Key, I can't count. Oh, I said at 25, weren't they? Yeah. Oh yeah, I for some reason thought they were at 15. It's not exact. That's nowhere near. Our opponent is slow rolling whatever it is. But that's not going to do it. We give Tyvar indestructible. And that should be game. What we can do, we can just give everything plus 32 with Tyvar. Or I imagine our opponent scoops. Or just stops playing. Oh no, there they are. Yeah. Everything gets plus 32. Can even play a land from the top, maybe 2. to basically buff multiple Hydra up to at least a 64, and then yeah, just absolutely. If we can even play another incubation druid to get more land, and then smash in for, I don't know, a couple of thousand maybe. Roxanne's a tough matchup as well, especially since opponent goes first. Immortal Sun buffing our creatures can help. So we need our ramp to survive. Quite like. We've got her, otherwise I'll just cast Roxanne. Wow. Puts out a range of Roxanne. This is a bit ridiculous. Oh, they have their own Immortal Sun. We can destroy their Immortal Sun with Rex Age. Well, we find a plains. But the problem is, are we just dead? They hit a Delighted Halfling and a Poison Dart Frog. Rampage and Vados was a good draw. I think I have to play out the oddity. Don't need another planes. If we can survive this turn, I think we're in pretty good shape. Well, so we need to... we can obviously take 2. And next turn we can tap down their entire board basically. Unless they can somehow do 5 to us. No, it's just a scrap border. Well, this is actually, I think, going to get a bit nasty. I didn't want to do the Guardian Angel thing. But yeah. We fetch Crater Hoof, we cast Crater Hoof, we smash him with everything, having a plus a billion. Did pretty well seeing as we didn't draw planes for quite a while. I'm against Amalia, so a life gain deck. Wow. We do have some ramp, so hopefully we can draw into green mana. I think I'll play out the Sky Knight Squire first. And hope it survives. Oh. Whiff. Green mana, please. That is not green mana. Well, there's a Malia. They should take Nissa. They do. Wow. At least next turn we can play Karametra. They keep Get Lost on top. Obviously it can't take out Karametra. Finally, a forest. We'll swing in with these. They're down to 14. Blind Obedience is a bit annoying, but never mind. What do they name? D-Spark's kind of annoying. I'm not that fussed about a Shire. Well, we may just have lethal because we can tap down everything. Well, and yeah, our opponent scoops it up. Let's just count, because obviously they have no mana left. We tap down our birds and our temple. Actually, we have enough lands anyway for one more, so we can tap down the Bloodlust and Ruin Lurker Bat and get in for, well, I think that'll be a 10-10. Yeah. Not by much, but enough, basically. Yeah, and if they had Authority of a Conclave, I think, which gains your life whenever a creature an opponent controls enters, they'd be in a lot better position, but they didn't. The mirror match. we go first. Well, with Ram. They have their own ramp. We can play Karametra next turn. They have a Fanatic. And next turn we can Lotus Cobra and Woe's Pathfinder. Let's get a Temple Garden. Veil. Yeah, I'll keep that. Next turn we can hopefully play out both Rampaging Baloths and Warped Leaf Liege. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, we definitely can. We'll play out the Baloths first. So that way, when we play out the Liege, we get that landfall trigger. I don't know why it doesn't want to use my treasures, but I've got them, so I might as well. They might take out the Provisioner. That'll turn on Karametra. Actually, it won't, because Nissa, the other side, doesn't have Devotion.
This is my judgment.
That does, though, obviously. And yeah, opponent scripts it up. We can tap the Pathfinder to, well, pay 7. It's quite a lot, but we can give our Karametra we can give our Karametra +3/+3 and trample. And obviously, if we draw more lands or creatures, we're creating more tokens with the Rampaging Bailiffs. Oh, against Bruna. Is this one of the meld ones? Yes. I've never seen it actually happen. We go first. We lack in planes. There is a planes. We can Karametra. So we play out our Provisioner. Create a treasure. Let's get more. Let's get our Lush Portico. Definitely want a Sky Knight Scoop Wire. No, give that back because I can crack a clue. And we can actually portal to Phyrexian next turn. Probably a bit of a waste so far. Fair enough. Let's fetch Temple Garden. And let's try and grow our Sky Knight Squire. Yeah, and next turn we can probably drop the portal. Hopefully they don't have a board wipe. Bye-bye, Angels. And yeah, that is Xaxes. Up against Downey, so a mono white power lesson 2. No ramp, although Spelunking with Karametra is really good. This is better. Next turn we can Beast Whisperer. Hopefully they don't have Mana Tithe. Just Resolute Reinforcements. The next turn we can Karametra, and obviously we draw a card. That's frustrating, but it is what it is. We can replay Karametra next turn. And we'll hold on to Ornithopter. Hopefully, they don't have a board wipe. Let's just get Temple Gardens. And then we'll play out an Oracle. Obviously, white does have a lot of exile effects for Karametra. But we do have 9 mana without many mana dorks. Well, let's fire a Vigor. Buff our board. And then we can destroy one of their golems. And yeah, our opponent scoops it up. They only have 3 mana anyway, so even if they did have a Sunfall or something in hand, I suppose they could have Wrath of God, that is 4. But yeah, we can swing in with Karametra this turn. It hasn't got Trample, but then next turn we probably have enough to tap down their entire board with Guardian Evangel, because with Nylea it only costs 1. And yeah, next turn we're drawing Ulamog anyway, so yeah, I think we were just running away with it.